see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Alfred.
Oi, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh, you wanna get sued?
Judgment, Alfred.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a-running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love it when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative, and it's so good to see all of you guys. I'm sorry I didn't write you all down before the show. I was looking at something. Hey Ann Reynolds, good to see you. Thank you for hitting the like button. Hope Floats, good to see you. Oh good, yes, I'm trying to do day lives so that way people can catch me during the day and I could catch more people too. And hey, Churchy, good to see you. Any bologna sandwiches she will get? Hello, everyone. Only bologna, excuse me, only bologna sandwiches she will get, right? Yeah, I had to go after the burglar today. And the reason being is because I did see another clip of the ants. So they looked like they were at the vigil and they were, grieving the loss of their nephew. And, they really should be, whoever gave custody to this momster over here. I have no, I don't have any sympathy. I can't have sympathy when there's a 10-year-old that was found in a tote in a shallow grave. No sympathy whatsoever from me. But with that being said, I think we should go after the person who did this to Jaden, more so than who gave it to him at this juncture. And I also wanted to give you all a chance when we slow jam to hear another side of it, right? Because the news does clip things up. I clip things up. I try to tell people the context. We don't always get that on mainstream media. But I do have to say, this is their top story. This is a top story in the area. And so when they cut the ants off of talking because they were saying silly things like, you know, we need to give him, we would give him some hugs. Well, you needed to give him the hugs whenever he was with you, in my opinion. Hey, Shadow, good to see you. Hey, Holly S. Holly S says, hey, lady, just about to walk my dog. Yay, happy you came on. Yes, I was going to try to go on just a little bit earlier, but it didn't work out. I was like, oh, go, you know, because I mean, there's so many news clips that have come out. I also watched the court TV, and I not pinned it to my community wall. I shared it to the community wall, so you can go over there and find it if you'd like to watch it. Jennifer Coffindoffer, I have to give her a shout out. She was on the show as well. And I know that she was saying about the lights and everything. I don't hold it against her. I'm really happy that she went on there representing Sebastian as well, because this story is just like what happened with Sebastian. And those two are still out there. And we have Felicia. So bye, Felicia. Hello, Katie. What's going on? Shadow says, hard biscuit shell. Ramen noodles, right? Only ramen noodles all day. Better get cozied up with someone. Hey, Cinderella. Although I don't know. Now, she does have Mr. Gross, who is out and about. Sorry, I didn't mean to drop the link there. Holly S. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, hey, Lady Freedom and Dragon Tribe. I LOL'd when the title popped up. Hope everyone's doing good. Thanks, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom. I hope you're doing well too. And yeah, I had to do it because I did see the ants today, and I thought, you know, I need to just kind of cool my jets a little bit. I know when to calm down. And when I saw that, hey, Show Poodles, I just thought, okay, well, they're at the vigil. I'm glad to see that, because, you know, we just don't know what to expect in these cases. And if you don't know, or you didn't watch the beginning coverage, I did lives with Momming It Up, so go back and look at those. I need to organize them better. So I do need to organize them better, so that way they're in playlists, and you could just go to Jaden's playlist and look at all of them, because I want you guys to see in real time how we were kind of approaching the case, how we were talking it out, how we had crowd help right from the chat. Kiki was sending us information. We also had Lisa B. Always on the panel, and Kiki. So there's a lot of people who have a lot of things to say about this. And then I was watching the news coverage of local people from Kentucky. And I have to say, we stayed in a hotel on the way down to Florida, and it was a really nice hotel. Everybody was super kind. They had a full breakfast when I went down there. The lady was super nice. There was a gas station not far away. They were very nice. Let me hang flyers. I didn't ask at a lot of places when I kind of like, you know, put the flyer up and dashed out the door, you know, put them in the bathrooms, which is, you know, on the stall. That's where I put it. Like, so that way, whenever somebody's sitting in there, you know, women, they can see it. I also put it right when you walked in the door. So, I mean, I'm sure somebody's taken them down by now, but at least they were up until someone either cleaned the bathroom or something. Whoever cleaned the bathroom, even if it was just an employee, saw Sebastian's flyer. In my opinion, that's helping to spread awareness the best that we can. But everyone was so kind there, and, you know, it looked like just a regular area, right? Like, we just drove through, and just a regular, oh, it's storming here. If you guys heard that, that's thunder. So I just wanted to say that, because I feel so sorry for the people there, and I know they want justice. Like, somebody was like, manslaughter is not good enough. She needs to stay in there forever. You know, they're not happy. And I wanted to show you that too. So, but I just didn't get it all prepared for today's live, so we'll do it tonight. Burglar. Holly has, I can barely say it. Hamburglar. Yeah, I know. And then, like, he's serving up justice, right? He's got a whole plate full of hamburgers. She has none, right? I don't know if that's her thing that she would get from there, but that's what it is today. It's all alleged that she would actually get hamburgers. She could have liked the McChicken for all I fucking know. I don't care. Hey, busy mama. Good to see you on. I finally made a live show. Good to see you all. I'm so happy. Yay. Thank you. See, I feel bad just doing the night shows because, you know, I don't catch a lot of people, and I like that. I like to catch the night crowd and the day crowd, and keeping me on my toes, right? You know, I finally made a live show, says Busy Mama. Good to see you all. And Sebastian, we won't stop looking for you. Prayers for all the missing children. Yes, absolutely, Busy Mama. There's far too many. And I have to applaud law enforcement in this case because they were listening to the tips, you know. So I can imagine how many tips they get, right? And then how many, like, wackadoos that call in and, like, you know, I saw Sebastian here, you know, I saw Jaden over here. But, you know, sometimes you do think that kids look like the person that you're looking for, right? That's why facial recognition and all of the facial features are so important. And, you know, just like Little Summer, I was critiquing it because of that, you know, because I'm like, okay, is somebody going to see Summer and recognize her? Because I still really have hope that she will be found someday, because I think she might have been trafficked. But then, you know, when I hear about her father and when I hear him speak, and he's just such a dirty MFer. And then you also have poor Summer, her mother is also, like, very deranged in my opinion, and the way that her thinking is, you know, or allowing things to happen, and being really just as perverse as Don. I mean, you know, birds of a feather and all of that. Chi says, all you're gonna get is a gross starchy jail meals full of starch, right? Like, good luck. You might get a packet of crackers every now and then. Maybe you can make yourself a prison burrito. I've seen people do that on the tubes. I'm like, there you go. But you're not gonna get a burger that you like from your favorite place, you know. Yeah, agreed. I would like to hear their side of the story and why they felt they needed to drop him off so quick with the mom. I do too. I want to find out kind of what happened, because it was also alleged. I'm so glad you said that, Holly S., because it's been alleged that the great-grandmother did take the mom to court for child support. Now, there's 2 other girls, right? So if she was in fact taking her to court for child support, I'm guessing it was for Jaden and the girls, right? Is just my best guess. And rightfully so. Like, if she's taking care of them and then now she's got 3 more kids, could you imagine how grandma probably felt? And then also, you know, everything went up really, really high, right? Like, Bullhorn Betty was talking about that. When the minimum wage goes up, everything else goes up, right? So the cost of services, the cost of food, everything. And so that happened, and it really put everything back into a balance. Instead of, like, giving people more money, well, then things were costing more. So, you know, it's pointless, really. Nevertheless, it's been tough on people, and especially a grandma. I don't know what kind of health she was in either. Makes me wonder that too, Holly S. And then also, like I said, if she was trying to get money and she was kind of trying to hold this person accountable, there could have been some sort of a vendetta against those other 3 kids, right? Like, I have these 3 kids and this is our family. I mean, you know, stranger things have happened. So I kind of just don't know everything right now. But at the beginning, I was really side-eyeing the aunts, because I'm like, well, which one of you actually gave Jaden to his mom? But we still don't know the whole story yet. And they look sad. You know what I mean? I hate giving people the benefit. I hate it. Don't come for me later and be like, Lady Freedom, you gave him the benefit of the doubt, and look what happened. Because I know, because it does. It comes back and bites you in the ass a lot of the times. But, I don't like to add insult to injury. Pour salt on an open wound, that sort of thing. So, I figured this is the person that we should be looking at because, of course, she is saying that this was accidental. And again, I don't believe that because she was with him long enough to know any medications and the doses. Also, she has other children too. She's not a new mother where she's never had to administer Tylenol, Motrin, whatever it is for babies, for kids. So, because that's something, when they get a cold, sometimes they need when they get sick, they'll need an antibiotic or something like that, and it'll come with instructions, right? Because it's based on the child's weight and their height, so as big as they are, that's how the dosage is figured out. And again, Jaden being smaller, like skinnier, right? Because and hey, I'm gonna say this too. He just lost his grandma. He got moved to a house where he was missing his sisters probably and his aunts, right? Because whoever he was living with, he's missing them, I'm sure. And then he's in this turmoil in this situation where I don't think that he was wanted well enough that he deserved to be wanted more, in my opinion, and treated well and also nurtured and he deserved better. So in that regard, I'm just wondering what all really transpired. Also, whenever you think about how something is accidental, and now arguably she's been in trouble for endangerment of a child before. So maybe she was afraid of that because she spent a year in jail before. So maybe she was afraid of that. I'm just going to say that as in people saying, because I've said it too, if it's an accident, you would call. But I'm thinking maybe in her situation, maybe that's why she didn't call, not, sticking up for her decision. Bad decision, by the way. If you think that you've OD'd your child, you really need to call and get the medical attention there. And then, it's more believable, right? She might not have been charged if she would have called right away and said, oh my God, I overdosed my child. I can't believe this, right? Because let's just face it. She looks like she's drugged out of her head. I mean, she just does. I'm sorry. A 33-year-old, 32-year-old doesn't look like that. Unless they've had a hard life of drugs, in my opinion. Mom should never have had him, Shadow. Just never should have had him. And I watched this news clip today and it broke my heart. The news clip, they had a vigil for the children at the school, to help them through it. But I don't believe it was Jaden's school, but the kids had done research on his favorite colors, and that's how we know that his favorite colors are red and blue. And of course, that's why I'm rocking the red out today, because of Jaden. I have blue on my shirt, and because he deserves so much better, and he's loved. The community is really hurting right now, and we had someone come in last night from Kentucky and spoke about that in chat, and I really appreciate that because it's very important for us to understand that when something happens to a child in the community, it does affect everyone, right? Because if you have kids, or if you did have kids and they're grown, if you're a grandparent, if you're a teacher, even I watched the senator, hopefully I said it right. I believe it was the senator that was on Court TV. Again, I posted that to the community wall. He was devastated. He thought he was going to find him. He thought he was hiding in the woods. He did. I could see it in his face. He was really devastated not to have found the little boy. And, you know, he went out there looking. And some people might be like, well, he was trying to get some votes. Fine. That's how you get them. You know, if you're in office and you're doing that, that's what we expect. It doesn't stop when you're elected. I mean, for some people it does, I suppose. She ain't getting shit, Lori. I gotta make you guys laugh about it because it is so devastating. But she ain't getting shit. She ain't getting no burgers, no McChickens, no McDoubles, no salad. They got salad there. No nuggets, no strips. The manslaughter is insane. I heard she could only go for 5 years. What in the world? I know, and that's the thing. Like, what about good behavior and prison overcrowding and different things like that? That's why whenever people are charged with something like that, you know, and you think it's murder, it's like it's they're not going to get the just sentence that really will bring the justice that Jaden deserves. Not at all. Not at all. Because we think about this. Look, this woman sat with a straight face. She wrote this handwritten crap letter to the news. The whole time she knew where he was. The whole time. You know? And Fred and Sheila are such good people and such sweet people, because I don't know that I wouldn't be upset with this lady. I'd be like, look, I came out here and I spoke to you to your face and you lied to me. And you knew the whole time. And here I am climbing up a hill to find your child and you let me do it. You know? Thank God for them. Thank God for the mentality and the kind heart that they have. You know, and my hat's off to them. Because I might have just wanted to go down there and, you know, to the jail and say, do you mind if I just, you know, smack her once? I'd be really upset. I'd be really upset. But, you know, that's what people do. And being in law enforcement like he was for 40 years, you know, he has the training and the know-how. So thank God for him and his wife. Hey, Prayer Warrior, good to see you. Oh, good. Oh, that's okay, Prayer Warrior. I love having you here. Whenever you guys can be here, I just like to make more options for you guys, because I was thinking about that. And Jude and I were talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I need to do some day shows, you know, and really kind of push myself more too, right? Because whenever you are working for yourself, like, I don't know if you guys have ever worked for yourself, but you really do have to like push yourself, right? You don't have a manager standing over you. You don't have to answer to anybody really, especially like with the YouTube channel. And so, you know, knowing that I need to make sure that I'm being more productive is a good thing. And so I love that too. But I also want to bring you more of these stories, right? And I want to keep up with Sebastian. We're also going to have some updates on Sebastian tonight. There was something that came out from At Night, and I shared it from Hindsight. So our friend Hindsight. And also I'm going to be working on some of the fundraising and things like that. I just need to get with Betty because she knows a lot more about it, and there's some other circumstances that we need to consider. So I want to make sure that I'm doing everything right before I, you know, kind of present it to you all. But I think that it is absolutely needed, and, you know, something that, you know, I just can't even help but think that how great it would be, like, if we did get all this money raised and everything like that, and then Sebastian was found and we didn't have to do it and we could donate it to another case or something, like, you know, that would be my ultimate hope. But because if I think about him missing for 2 years, I just think, you know, what a failure. What a failure. Big fat F. And at that point, I wonder if he'll take his grubby little paws off the case. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, hope she watched plenty of how to make hamburgers in jail. tax. Oh my Lord. That's hilarious. Yeah, she's gonna need a, you know what I mean? Only hamburger bun she's gonna have is Roselli's, behind. Kiki says, Holly, uh, once they have the autopsy reports, I feel confident her charges will be upgraded. I am really hoping for that too. Kai, I'm really hoping for that. I'm really, really hoping. And yeah. And the reason being, I'm not saying that they didn't throw the book on her or at her for the other charges. And I think that's why they stacked them the way that they did, right? Like, I think that's why originally she's got the manslaughter, and then she's got the tampering with evidence, she's got tampering with the corpse, and then she's got basically lying to the, misreporting an incident, right? Like, so she knowingly, and she did all of those things, in my opinion. All of those things were done. I think that there was intent. I absolutely, unequivocally think that there was intent here. And here's why. Because she says that she gave him too much medication, but there was no documentation of this child having any medical issues. So that tells me that he was not prescribed anything. So what did you give him? Did you give him the other children's medication? Did you give him your husband's medication? Did you give him yours? A lot of us have been prescribed, anxiety, sleep aids, things like that as adults. Did she give an adult dose to her son? And is she saying, oh, well, I only gave him one and it, killed him? Hey, Nisi Marie, good to see you. Yeah, it does make me sick to think about the prices. Mine's so bad. I'm so bad with it that I just grab stuff, and then when I get there, I'm like, oh crap. You know what I mean? Because it's just, we're empty nesters or whatever, so it's just the two of us. So I'm just like, grabbing stuff. I'm like, oh crap. And even like just things that are kind of like, pop and stuff like that, they're so expensive. For just a 12 pack of, you used to be able to get like, pop for like $5 for, 24 of them. So major difference. From what I read, Prayer Warrior says this morning, the woman shouldn't have had any kids in her care. Okay, yeah, I think so too. Not sure how factual what I read was, though, in my opinion. Yeah, well, it's hard too, because look, we're finding out a lot through rumors on Facebook. And Mom and It Up talked about it too, where it's like, okay, do we know for a fact that this is the case? Also, just keeping in mind that it is hearsay. And if we see it on Facebook or something like that, even through the media, because they're interviewing other people, right? Just like the people in the community saying, what's up with the manslaughter only, now they do have to prove intent, for murder. And I hope they trump the charges up. But the fact that she already had a lawyer, allegedly, may have helped her in the situation. And I say that because, her defense attorney maybe was with her when they were going to going to show where Jaden was and things like that. And they could have already had the story worked out, right? Because she knew the whole time what she did. She knew the whole time. Then she went and got a lawyer, and she talked to the lawyer, and they were probably like, okay, look, this is the story. Stick to it, or your ass is going to never see a fucking cheeseburger again. Or, whatever kind of drug of choice. But yeah, I don't think so, Prayer Warrior. I think she never should have had children in her care, and no one should have entrusted Jaden with her, especially in the condition that he was in. And I'm talking about grieving the loss of his grandmother, right? Great grandmother. Grieving his sisters, knowing taking him out of that situation at that point, because I don't know that they were friendly. I don't know that they were getting together for barbecues or even Christmas or even birthdays or any of that. It seems to me, in my opinion so far, and it could be wrong, but that Felicia was kind of, living with the Gross, she became a Gross and she's living with the Gross family. And then, not 20, 30 minutes away is Jaden and Grandma and her other two daughters. So that's my understanding. That's to the best of my knowledge. And, I don't know how friendly they were back and forth, or if there was phone calls to, from Felicia to Jaden. I love you, buddy. You know what I mean? Any of that. I don't know if there was visits. I don't know any of that. If there wasn't, you expect that child to be normal with you? You expect him to respect you? Please. No way. And that's on you to fix that, not on Jaden to fix. He's already has enough to fix and reconcile and understand. As a little 10-year-old, I don't feel sorry for her. Don't feel sorry for her at all. Prices are so outrageous, Shadow. Like eggs. Here, eggs are like super expensive. It's the weirdest thing I've ever. We talked about the eggs. And I'm like, it's weird, because you're just used to having that like in your house, if you need it for whatever. And also it's a good breakfast, hard-boiled eggs or whatever. But yeah, super expensive here. And sometimes like there isn't any, which is weird. I don't know what's up with that, but sometimes you'll go over there and there'll be like 2 cartons of eggs. You're like, oh, good. At least I got one for $1 an egg. You think it was accidental? Okay, so Chi-Chi says, I think, in my opinion, maybe she did it accidentally. And, I will say this. I didn't think that you could actually overdose on melatonin, like that would kill you. I mean, overdosing sometimes, it's not going to kill you. It just means that you've had too much and you're going to vomit your butt off or, whatever, expel it, and you're going to get really, really sick, but you're not going to die from it. But I didn't know that it could actually cause death, because it does cause different changes and things like that to your vitals, like your, blood pressure and things like that. So that's really, I think, what could really hurt you. And then also, if you're like heavily sedated, sometimes you could stop breathing, you know what I mean? Or if you're lying on your back, you could asphyxiate yourself. Stuff like that happens, right? Because you'll start to vomit and then not to be sick. I'm just saying. I mean, that's how some people pass. I can't imagine what he went through. accidental with broken legs, right? Yeah, and see, this is what I'm thinking too, Shadow. I do think that. I do think I am definitely, because here's the thing. I did approach this as maybe something happened. This mother is obviously has her own sets of issues, right? With the substances. And of course, that's a scary thought, because when people are on like substances like that, we talked about it last night, they're ate up. They're not thinking correctly. They're not making good decisions. They're not thinking about anybody else other than themselves and what they need and, their next fix, really, sometimes. Or they're just twacked out of their brain. Like, they're literally not all there. It's just like a drunk person falling all over the place. They're not in a good, position at that point, and especially somebody that like gets up and like, ooh, 5 o'clock somewhere. Kai says, I don't believe it was accidental either. Yeah, I just don't see how you would give her I don't see how she could give him so much of something. Although he is thin. I will say he's very thin, and for his weight, if she gave him an adult dosage and she's trying to pass it off like, well, I only gave him 2 of the adult dose and I didn't know, maybe, I can see why I'm wondering why the charges only, because we know what the charges are, and we know that she coaxed the other children, right? Like, there is apparently 2 of the children were coaxed before the police interview. and said, basically, this is the story. Again, let's stick to the story. We don't know where Jaden is. He walked off in the middle of the night. I find it interesting that the news clip said that there was only 2 children interviewed by police. Does that mean that the younger child wasn't in the bedroom? Because again, we found out last night that it does appear that there's 3 bedrooms in the trailer. So obviously my train of thought or my way of thinking would be parents in one room, two boys and 2 boys, right, in each room. And that would kind of split up the space and it wouldn't be overwhelming for anybody. Besides, if it's an older kid sharing it with a younger kid, obviously it gets a little hairy, but it's not that bad, right? And they're all boys now. Mixing the girls and the boys, I don't believe in that because there's too many things that happen. There's too many cases out there that look at nasty old Josh Duggar, prime example, and then blame it on the girls. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Chuchi, I misread that. She says, in my opinion, it's BS that it's accidental. Thank you. Yeah, so okay, so we got 3 people saying that to me. I do, and I hate to be like accusing somebody that has confessed, right? Because she obviously, ultimately, after a week, did the right thing. Just like she wrote in the note, right? Do the right thing. She knows to do the right thing. She did the right thing, in my opinion, at that point, to just say, look, this is what it is. This is what happened. I'll give her that. Nisi Marie says back in '84, minimum wage was $3.85 an hour in Indiana. You have to stretch your dollars out back then. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and all of these things like that were so inexpensive have become expensive, which is crazy, And it's like, things like eggs and, healthy foods too, that you can, especially for kids. That's a quick, fast breakfast that you can make for the kids in the morning and, toast and that sort of thing. So, yeah. Yeah, Shadow, when I read that, I screamed. My husband came running to me. She is a monster. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Totally. And I can't say that I wasn't expecting this outcome because I was, based on what I knew about the mom. After that, I was like, okay. And then the letter. Of course, my spidey senses went up when it was like, okay, 9 o'clock, with 9 o'clock bedtime, Sebastian just, went to bed at 9 and she went to wake him up for school at 6. He wasn't there. Then we see, the same thing with Jaden, 9 o'clock bedtime. But this time the parents said they all went to bed at the same time. And I'm like, well, that's a dead giveaway. I know that's a lie. As a parent, I know that's a lie. Parents rarely just go to bed right after their children go to bed, in my opinion. That's your time to fold an extra thing of laundry, clean up from something, sit and have, a relaxing time watching something on the TV, and then you go to bed, by the time you're done getting the kids ready, especially when you have 4 kids, by the time you're done getting them all pajamas and brushing their teeth and, good night, good nights, bedtime story. One of them comes out, I'm thirsty. Another one comes out, oh, I forgot to give you a hug. That was my daughter all the time. All the time. I forgot to give you a hug, Mom. Oh, okay, Olivia, come over and give me a hug. And then go back to bed. You know what I mean? But hilarious. She would always do that. And I'm like, okay. So, accidental my ass. Lori, we need Chris from the Mob Crew. My ass. Like the one that Justin plays. That's too funny. Yeah, it is so sad. Shadow, it is just, it's unbelievable. And that's the thing. We try really hard not to, and even Fred and Sheila were talking about this when we played the clips last night. they were just talking about how you really try with everything, because we, in the United States, it is it is innocent until proven guilty. But in the court of public opinion, a lot of times it's guilty until proven innocent. And the reason being is because when we see the other outcomes of the cases, and especially when we cover them all the time, or, you know, someone like Fred, who has been in law enforcement for 40 years, and he speaks to people and he's spoken to people, you can tell he went right up to the house. He had no issue going up and knocking on the door and speaking with them. He was calm, everything. Because that's, you know, what he's used to doing all that time. And again, they come up on some very, you know, froggy situations where it's like, what could happen, you know, and then also like some really disgusting conditions that these poor children live in. I mean, it's just like, you know, but you try not to judge, because when you judge before, it's going to cloud your judgment for the entire investigation. We see this in Sebastian Rogers' case. A nice neighborhood, right, in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Mother and stepfather are militarily trained from the Navy. The house is clean. There's running water. There's food in the refrigerator. It's a lot different when you walk into none of that being in order. And on top of that, there's shit and piss and roaches and lice and, you know, everything. So obviously that would be hard not to cloud your judgment in that instance. You know, you would have to probably fight against it, in my opinion. You know, because the first thing you think when you see all that, you're like, oh my God, this is disgusting. Like, you know, I've seen people like leave the house and vomit because it's so disgusting, right? The smell, you know, just knowing some people live there, they cook there, they eat there. What the hell, you know? Oh, Burton Skaggs on Facebook has it. Thank you. Now she's going to prison, I hope. Oh, I hope her charges get trumped up. And that's the thing too. I need to figure out what discretion would be left up to the jury, or the judge obviously would do sentencing. I would think, I'm thinking in the Commonwealth. I just haven't had a chance to do as much research on it, but I will say that I'm hoping that with everything combined, they can make sure that there's justice for Jaden. I don't think she should ever be out again or have access to children ever, never again. Never again. We would be fools to allow for that. Just like whoever brought Jaden to his mother is a fool, in my opinion. And that never, ever should have happened. I don't care if you're ripping your hair out because of the child. I do not care. You don't bring them there. Don't bring them there. That's the last place that you should have ever considered, in my opinion. Hindsight is always 20/20. But still, it makes me worried for the other two that are in the care and custody of somebody that would do that. Sorry. And sometimes first aid, yes, absolutely. Prayer warrior, first aid may have been able to counteract the original medication reaction, in my opinion. The minute that she finds that out. Another thing we talked about last night too, they said that they saw him last at 9:00 at night. So you gave him the medication before he went to bed at some point, whether it be 7:00 at night, 8:00 at night. And then when did you realize it? In the morning? Right? You put him to bed at 9 and, you know, next thing you know, in the morning, he wakes up like that. I don't believe it. I don't. And if they let this slide, God help them. Because it's just not okay. It's not fair for him to have been failed in life and then be failed after. When we know and we have a confession, you know, she needs to pay for what she's done. and make sure nobody else gets hurt by her. Yeah, fire department, hospital, etc. Apparently, I've heard. Yeah, but there was a child that was screaming in the car, right? Like, I did watch that. People were talking about it in chat last night. I did watch it, and that's what the one of the neighbors had alleged. That they said, look, you know, this child, I witnessed this child screaming in the back. And that's the senator was searching a tip from that person, right? So any of it should have been, you know, and that's what happens when during an accident. If an accident occurs, you know, and don't tell me that if you gave that child too much medication, he wouldn't have been saying, I don't feel good. I mean, come on. You know, I don't know. I'm just not buying it, and I don't feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for this child. Hey, Gigi of 2. I feel sorry for this child. All day. Not her. Oh, okay. I've heard Josh doesn't let her use the phone. Do you know if that is a fact? I haven't heard that. I have not heard that. I mean, I heard that he is controlling, that he possibly hits her. Yeah, I don't know. See, and I was thinking that maybe she went to the neighbors, because it has been alleged that she went to the neighbors to call. So, but I thought that was because maybe they didn't have internet, because they didn't have reception. Fred and Sheila, when they were down there either, in the down in the holler, and I thought maybe they had to go up to a neighbor's to get, you know, reception, or because, you know, typically if you go up the hill, it's going to be better than down in the bottom, right? That's why you don't get good reception down there, because you have to go up. But that. And why isn't he? I mean, you know, why isn't he charged as an accomplice or what? Because she didn't get the murder charge, I guess. Yeah, she could have called poison control. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's what you would expect somebody to do, especially, I mean, I don't know. Who knows what time they woke up, but wasn't it supposed to be like the first day of school? I don't know how old her other kids are either. I mean, they're under the age of 10, obviously, but oh, prayer warrior, yes. It really affects the entire community. We're still looking for a local child missing from 2004 in my small county. Okay, prayer warrior. If you email me the flyer, I'll post it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, 2004. And it does affect the entire community. I mean, who would think of it, right? Well, for one, you start thinking like, can I let my kids play outside? Is there somebody out there snatching up kids? You know, like back in the day when we were kids, you know, it was like the guy in the white van, you know, and he was like snatching kids up. And nowadays it's like left and right. The parents did it. You know, I mean, was there really a guy, you know, snatching up kids back in the day, or was it the parents doing it the whole time? Just makes you wonder. I mean, come on. In my opinion, I believe there's going to be a deep dive investigation of the family members as well. I hope so, Nisi Marie. We have to get to the bottom of it. People need to be held accountable. I really believe that. I think that it, you know, we can't, yeah. We can't allow for that. You don't just get to go up there and be like, oh, everything's great. I'm the one that did this. You know, I contributed. Shadow says no fries. No nothing. Oh my goodness. Well, that's what she gets. Lori says McNuthins. That's so great, Lori. That's what I should have put up there because I don't know if she eats hamburgers or not. That's just alleged, you know. She's getting McSlop. Shit. Oh my gosh. You guys are hilarious. Hey, Gina H. She's definitely a few fries short of a Happy Meal. You guys are hilarious. Hey, YouTuber. Good to see you. Two fries short. Oh gosh, you guys. I've always only worked for myself, and that's how I raised 5 kids and actually knew where my teens were after school. Yeah, but you have to discipline yourself at some point. You're like, okay, hey, you don't just get to sit here and watch YouTube all day. You got to like actually do something. But it's hard because like with YouTube, you got to watch stuff. You know, you got to like watch Court TV or watch whatever. You know, on TV, watch whatever. Like I still haven't, you know what I haven't watched yet is the one from last night. I have not, and I forgot which one it is, but I have it written down. About the person that called in the tip about the smell over near where they found Jaden. Oh boy. Did you see that they got new cruisers for the TBI or like paddy wagons or whatever, like command station looking things? I was like, they need to put Chris and Katie in the paddy wagons, drive them to the station, separate them, and question them again until they tell the truth. Aw, thanks, Holly S. says Sonic Happy Hour. Aw, thank you. That is awesome. I like Sonic. I haven't I don't know that there's a Sonic around here. We have a lot of stuff. Thanks for the green hearts, Lori. 5 years. I know, Shadow, and I'm like going 5 years. What the heck? That's not near long enough. Not for what she's done. And lying about it on top of it. Looking these, I mean, this adorable couple. Let me show you guys. See, it makes me mad for them, but they said, oh, we're not mad. We're just glad he's found. And, you know, thank God for them. Oh, you know, I might have erased the background because I had to put this one in. That's it. But go to my live from last night. They're adorable. Go to their channel. They're named Hatfield and McCoy's Adventures. Awesome, awesome people. YouTuber says Felicia won't be asked, do you want fries with that in prison canteen line? Oh my gosh. I don't want to even think of what would happen to have to smuggle in some McDonald's into the prison. I take a heavy duty med and I guard it like a hawk when I do visit my grandchildren. Yes. Well, and that's the thing. Older kids could get into stuff like that. I mean, you know, littler ones don't really think about it. And obviously, you know, it's hard to open. They have like the tamper proof. I'm not sure, you know, if they have that everywhere, but you know, that it's like you have to really, you know how to open it, and so the littler ones shouldn't know how to do that. You know, you just made me think of poor Johnny Depp when he was on the stand talking about how his mom used to have him go and get her medications for her out of her purse, and I, you know, always thought, gosh, that poor kid, you know, and he, you know, learning how to open it, he already knew how to because his mom was like, you know, go get my pills. You know, those are the circumstances that a lot of the kids live in. And it's a wonder when they make it out. Poor Jaden. Poor Sebastian. Oh, good point. Yeah, Chuchi, that's a great point. If she gave Jaden someone else's prescribed sleep medications, that's still illegal and can get charged, in my opinion. Yeah, I wonder what the story is, because he obviously didn't have anything medically documented. So either it was over the counter or someone else's medications, right? But even Unisom, I wonder, like, I know there's Unisom, so can you OD on a Unisom? Hey, Miss Ann, how you doing? How you doing? Thanks for being here. She says she's in the bushes. I do that all the time. I'll be in the bushes and listening, you know, like if I'm getting ready or whatever it is, because you know. But I'm glad you're here, Miss Ann. Good to see you. Oh, Tina, it's so horrible. It's so horrible. Oh, dang, Lori, you know what? I need to grab it. I can't post links. Guys, I'm so sorry. I cannot post links in here because I might end the live stream. I'm afraid I'm going to, because the button is like right there. Like right there, and I'm like, whoop, and see, I can't even deal with this situation. Um Yeah, a welfare check would have been a great idea as well to prevent this. So, Chuchi says, in my opinion, and I was Samantha, couldn't get a hold of Jaden. I would have called for a welfare check, knowing Felicia's past. Yeah, and I think that's just the best that they could have done, right? Like they could have done other things, right? And especially if they say, just for plain devil's advocate, say Felicia, or to Samantha's knowledge that Felicia had been clean and everything was great, and okay, you can take Jaden, great, we're going to go ahead and bring Jaden over. And they couldn't get a hold of him, right? That would have been the time to go over and check yourself, to go over or call for a welfare check, just to make sure, because of the history, right? If there was no history, then you wouldn't know, right? You'd say, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe she is capable of this. But when it's wanton endangerment of a child, that means that you were being reckless, and that means that it was intentional, because you knowingly did it, right? And that's where I think I think her charges need to be trumped up, in my opinion. Because yeah, and thank you. There's so many things that she could have done. Lori says, I don't feel sorry for her either. It's hard to, especially when we see, a beautiful kid like Jaden. He's just as cute as he can be. Did I bring in, let me see. Let me get this one. He is just so cute. I pulled this one from his obituary. Had this one. Oh, first, there's a candlelight vigil for Jaden, right? So, and I think I'll try to do another flyer too and post it up for him, because he really deserves the best, in my opinion. He just does. And especially now, knowing he didn't have that at all. Just bear with me here too on this newer picture. Yeah. So that was that was one of the pictures from his obituary, and Justin from Clutch Them Pearls had it up, and so I just kind of snapped it really quick, because I have the other obit in my email. I haven't put it up yet, because again, I'm going to do another tribute video to him. I just didn't have enough, about him or pictures of him, but he's just as cute as he can be. And this is the picture of a happy, healthy child, in my opinion. This picture is not. And folks, in my opinion, this is not just grieving his grandmother. This is called abuse and neglect. Abuse and neglect. Happy child, abuse and neglect. And there's no denying it. Anybody that looks at those Aw, thank you, Lori. Hey, Seclusion Works, good to see you. The balance of the entire neurotransmitters are delicate. Too much of one can cause the others to have a biochemical fight, so to speak. Yeah, and that's the thing too. You never know what these medications are going to do. I mean, there's always a list of side effects, but I mean, it's going to change people's chemistry, brain chemistry, um, and exactly, and that's how your brain fires off signals. I know it is so interesting. Prayer Warrior says, interesting how these kids go missing during the night. Quite a trend, in my opinion. It's almost like there's like a playbook for it. Like, hey, if your kid goes missing, just say that, you put them to bed at 9 o'clock and, they vanished. Because kids don't vanish. But they're like, oh, just say they vanished. Oh, they just vanished. They vanished. Okay. Nope, not buying it. Oh yeah, like to induce vomiting. I know what you're saying, Nisi Marie. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's certain things like that I just know that I'm not equipped to do. And if I thought that, I had given my child too much, I would call the experts and, get the medical attention as soon as I could because I would want them to, survive. But again, that's why I think it was something that she did. I mean, I don't think that this was an accident. It's too hard to believe it would be an accident. But you're right, though. That is one thing that, poison control might say is to, like, induce vomiting, and that way, you get it all out of your system, so to speak. Especially if it's like especially if you just did it, right? Or like, say you walked in and your child did get into some medication, like right away. And they may even tell you to do that, but usually, like, they'll pump your stomach and make sure that you can, you'll get it all out of your system, whatever it is, and they can only really do that medically, or should be, because look, you can hurt them more, if you handle it yourself. But if you just quick call 911 and they'll walk you through, it's just like, say you call 911 and you're like, oh, I walked in, my husband isn't breathing, and they're going to say, okay, I need you to start administering CPR, and they'll count with you, because that way you can start the process. But I would really be hesitant to, unless I had medical training myself, which I do have a little bit, but I mean, not to something to that extent. I would just feel more comfortable calling someone who could actually, help me and assist me and get my child to the hospital, or my husband, or whoever it is. I don't have a husband, but if I did and he was in trouble, I would, Now, if somebody's choking, that's why they teach us how to do the Heimlich maneuver. And, if someone's choking, they'll tell you, because you can pop that out. And of course, waiting for someone to arrive, you may not make it. Another example of where, medical professionals have kind of given the public a little bit more leeway is when, people are having a heart attack. And so they started, putting defibrillators in different places. And so that way somebody could shock someone else if they need to. Because, it's worth a try. So, but yeah, most people wouldn't know how to do that. I mean, yes, there's instructions, but sometimes you don't have time for instructions. I'll admit my autistic kid's sleep schedule is well, and I think that life in general and people in general, all of us, it's not perfect, and so when we have things like, my sleep schedule is really, really bad. You know what I mean? It just is. And sometimes, we'll have heavy stressors in life, and there'll be things that, you can't turn your brain off, or you go to lie down and you might sleep a couple hours and then you're up again. So I understand that, and I think um, always remembering that kids are people too. Like they're little people, and they're gonna have things that they're gonna have to overcome, and you know what I mean. So, um, yeah, it makes it difficult on the parents. So I'm glad that you're aware of it, Holly S. Because some people don't want to even admit that, or they don't even know. Like, heaven forbid, and they don't even know. They're like, everything's cool, and it's like, well, no, it's not. But those are the people that you usually see all over Facebook, and they have the perfectest life, but then the next thing you know, um, they're on Dateline, or we hear about them in true crime. Because they're not really being authentic with who they are, or they're really not even being honest with themselves at that point. Yeah, true. Roid rage is a deal. Seclusion work says very dangerous. Why do you think roid rage is so deadly? Yeah, well, because it just changes the person, right? Like they end up getting out of sorts, and then too. Testosterone is a good thing for a man, but too much of it can, shrink the package, among other things. Holly, yes. we are pattern recognizers. Yeah, and you kind of have to. You end up seeing it more. The more you see it, like, oh, this again, this again, this again. Oh yeah. I wonder about the Thrive products, Holly S. as well. That is such a good point. Seclusion, I think a little of that played into the Watts case, especially with him not sleeping and being on the Thrive patch. Didn't they take uh, one of the health supplements from years ago? I can't remember what it was called. It was Fen or something. But people were taking it, and it was having a really adverse effect on some people. And so, yeah, they ended up taking it off. So I do think about the Thrive patches and how it may have affected any of them, who are taking it, because you're literally putting stuff on your body that you don't even know what it is. That is such a great point. Seclusion Work says, oh yes, Holly S. Chris displayed a chemical imbalance. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, hormones are huge. Hormones are really they can make you nuts. Man or woman, really. Seclusion, oh my gosh, yes. Doctor convinced my husband had low T, and turns out he didn't. Made him nuts for a solid month. They do. Holly, yes, that is a really great point. I think many of these cops need to be educated or do some continuing ed or something. I think so too, because you know, um, there's been a stigma attached to mental health, but then also just the awareness of those who don't have mental health issues, right? Like the police, I'm assuming, hopefully, they need to understand mental health more so than anyone, because they come up on all types of people, and they need to know how to deal with everything on a case by case basis, and compassion can go a long way, even though, I get mad about giving the benefit of the doubt, but compassion can go a long way. Hey, Lisa B. Always. Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa. I'll check it. I saw another email come in from Prayer Warrior too, and I'll get that printed out and printed out. My Lord, I will share it. I will share it on my community tab for you guys too. Jay Zolly says, I can't believe she pled not guilty. Yeah, she's got a lawyer. She's got a lawyer. I kind of saw that coming, but I didn't know, because really it's up to her. The lawyer can say, hey, how do you want to plead to this, before he talks to the prosecutor, and they make, arrangements and talk to the judge. And yeah, I was wondering what her plea would be. Thank you so much, Jay Zolly. I mean, Lori. Oh, gosh. Watch Law and Crime. Some beautiful homes. Parents have turned into houses of horror. Yeah, Law and Crime. I love Law and Crime too, Holly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, the outside is like, don't think anything of it. And then you go inside. I remember seeing one that had like one of those little hooks, and it had like the little flag, and it said welcome, and it looked so cute. Like, and then you go inside and it's just like straight filth and, disgust. Yeah, yeah. And, I mean, I'm not saying that people couldn't clean that stuff up, but you just have to make an effort to do that. But I mean, I just wonder how you're having little ones running around like that. Like, I don't know. It's so unsanitary. And yeah, well, Prayer Warrior said exactly. When did she realize she gave him too much? Her words are convicting, in my opinion. Yeah, like, I mean, again, she's the one administering this medication, so only she knows what she did or how much she gave him or when she realized it. I'm almost okay with her pleading not guilty, because that means there'll be a trial and she'll have to get on the stand. And if she doesn't take the stand, which she probably won't, I will say that, because she, her past is kind of said that she's going to keep quiet and that sort of thing. But evidence will come out at the trial. And if she doesn't get up there and defend herself, then, in my opinion, that's okay too. Because the evidence at least will be presented to all of us. Oh, yeah, so many cockroaches, Miss Anne. Oh, boy. Yeah, and the thing is then they go into other people's apartments, and oh, my Lord. Yeah, shaking my head. He was in the first stages of OD. Yeah, and she could have helped him, and we saw that too, again, in James's case as well. Hey, Andrea. And Angela. Andrea and Angela. I don't buy it either, she says. Yeah, I don't buy it either. It's hard to believe. It just makes it harder to believe, in my opinion, too. That's my thing too, Lori. Like, if she was a new mom, I could see that maybe she would, like, if there was a true accident occurred and she called and everything. Yeah, but I mean, with her already having, kids and being used to doing that sort of thing, 3 kids have survived the household just fine with medications, and all of a sudden this one gets, too much. Lori says, how do you even give your kid medicine without knowing the dose? I mean, really. Yeah, it makes no sense. And it's so sad too. It is so sad for Jaden. Holly S. not buying it either. Didn't she have prior in regards to kids? Yes. Yeah. And it was like knowing endangerment of the child. It was like you did something reckless, and yes. And she served a year. And then she also served a year on drug and gun charges as well. Oh, okay. The judge entered the not guilty plea, not her. This is very common, and this is not the preliminary. Yeah. Yeah, and I need to go over and watch to see if they have any coverage of the court, um, of the arraignment. Okay, Prayer Warrior says she did, definitely one. I read 2 this morning. The judge entered the plea for her. Okay, I read that one. Chuchi says, in my opinion, if that's the case and Josh took her phone because he is controlling, then he should be charged as well. Shame on you, Josh. Yeah, I agree with that. I think he should be charged because, look, we're not fools. We're not fools. We're not stupid. We're not gullible, right? We're not naive. So you had 3 kids when you went to bed at 9 o'clock. The mother wakes up. She doesn't tell you, right? This is what we're expected to believe from old Joshy Poo over here. Gross Poo Josh. Okay, so she just goes and finds a tote and puts this young man in there, and then she carries the tote all the way over out of the house into the car, loads it up, and then takes him someplace. And then she says, what? I took him to McDonald's? I don't know what happened to him. He knew damn well what happened in his own house. Chuchi, absolutely. Shame on you, Josh. And where are we at with that? Why is he out? Because if you're going to allow something like that, where's the accountability? If these 2 skate, OMG. I mean, Holly S. No. I don't see that. And I'll tell you what the general word on the street was in Kentucky, in that area. People were not pleased. And they're going to have to come together and speak up against it. I know we will here. We're going to keep following this case. Absolutely. This poor kid deserves it. Hey, Narita, good to see you. This can't be normalized. Holly S. Exactly. And parents can't think that they can just say, oh, I gave him too much medicine. Oh, and then 5 years later, they're good. No way. That is nowhere near enough time, in my opinion. Nowhere near enough time. That's right. With some medications, you never want to exceed the safety threshold. Yeah. And I mean, that you're giving somebody too much of something. Again, she's not a first-time mom, and that you don't just, like, the doctor gives you the bottle of, antibiotic, and you just fill the whole thing up with the plunger and then, give it to the kid. No, you don't do that. You measure it out to make sure that they don't get too much and to make sure it's effective, because, again, you have to finish the antibiotics out, make sure that you take everything, follow the directions to a T. You don't just say, oh, well, I don't feel like, these directions, don't need them, give the kid whatever you want. No, she knows that. She knows damn well, too. I mean, my Lord. I think it had to have been seclusion, just, with everything adding up, right? Like, if it was 1 factor, 2, oh boy, when we get to 3 and 4, it's like, oh, nope, sorry. Which is a crime itself, Holly. Yes, exactly. There is, I bet, yeah. Sonic and Dollar Tree, the staples of the South. True. True that. Yes. I haven't even been to a Dollar Tree since I've been here. And I used to go all the time, Dollar General, go up to the DG. And they had a lot of cute stuff. Dolly Parton had a little brand over there. I got like a spatula that says, I was trying to think of what it says on it. It's really cute. I'll have to show you guys. It says something like dream big or something. I don't know. Dolly's adorable. Yeah, there's always a little truth in these fools' lies. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to like kind of listen for it, right? You really do. That's why we have to analyze them, you know? Holly says, or Lori says, Holly 100. Yeah. We have to really listen and read between the lines, you know? It's sad but true, you know? And you hate to be like, oh, I'm going on a witch hunt for this, you know, person or that person before you know. But once you know, it's like, oh, okay. Because it just is really so unbelievable. Hey, Tina Girl. Tina Girl says, I guess I could see how a whole bottle of melatonin could be eaten, especially if that's the strawberry gummy kind. Yeah, true. I can see that too. Or like maybe they didn't know that the gummies had melatonin in it and they're eating it, right? And so, sure, like a little kid and they just think, oh, these are like, you know, strawberry, you know, Welch's, the little strawberry things, you know? But then come to find out they have melatonin in them, you know? They used to have back in the day, like the yuck stickers, hey Gina H, that you would put on like the bottles underneath the cabinets and things like that, and it would just be like a green face or whatever, like yuck, and so little kids would see it and know not to drink it. I don't know if they still have that, like that where you can get those stickers to put on like the gummies. That would be really a good idea. And then let your kids know when you see the sticker, like don't drink it or eat it or anything, you know, because not too long ago, babies were eating the Tide Pods. Now, I don't know how they were able to even get to those because, again, anything with that kind of, you know, I mean, we think about it, the kids like colorful things. And really the Tide Pods remind me of like the old baby teethers, you know, so even if they didn't know and they stuck it in their mouth, right, the chemicals are there. They're ingesting, you know, chemicals into their body. Gina H says, I'm still wondering if Sumner County Sheriff's clowns counted Sebastian's meds. That is such a good point and question, Gina H. Yeah, I wonder that too. Do they know? Do they even know what medications he was taking? No, I'm just kidding. But like, yeah. Did they make sure that he wasn't overdosed? Yeah. Absolutely. Because if you think about ADHD medication and the effect that it has on someone who needs it, it mellows them out a lot, right? We have a 12 milligram bottle of melatonin that's strawberry flavored. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, and that's another thing. If they drink it and they just think it's like a strawberry drink, right? Yeah. Yeah, Tina Girl, that's a great point. Oh, yeah. Well, and I mean, who knows if there was an illegal substance, and see what we all know once the tox comes out. We're going to know, Holly S., once that tox comes out, and she knows that too. You know, she may just be trying to, you know, lie her way through the situation again, which she's done that before. Once the autopsy comes back, it will be to tell all, and the charges would be upped. I don't believe Felicia's story, way more to it, in my opinion. I believe that too, Andrea. I do. And he's gonna say it because she also was charged with I don't know if I mentioned it, abuse of a corpse, right? So there must have been something that the police were able to see from the condition of Jaden's body, right, before this, because it was, you know, she had been charged with this already. So What did she do to mutilate him? Why did you have to do that if you only gave him too much medication? I mean, it's just a question, you know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tina, yeah. Fent is so much cheaper, and it's cut into everything. Yeah, you don't know what you're taking, really. I mean, gosh, there's been so many stories where, there was one where a kid had gotten some pills from what is it, Snapchat, right, where they were communicating, and took them. They were delivered to him. He took them, and he passed away because he wasn't aware of what was actually in them. Because they could actually press a pill into anything and make it look like any pill. That's just scary. They have the very large industrial size pill pressers that they have. They're huge, right? And yeah. I'm hoping so too, Andrea. Lori says, Holly, yes. Yeah. Hey, Adam Forever 21. Good to see you. Yes, during the day. Yes, ma'am. We weathered out a storm here too. We had the Chucky's Bride. Yes, Chucky's Bride, and she's getting laughed at by the Hamburgers, saying, no more hamburgers for you. Wow, what a difference. Tina Girl says, Holly S. So do the remaining kids, in my opinion. They deserve scholarships, etc., but not in our society. Yeah, I mean, I just feel so bad for the girls. I feel bad for the 3 little boys. They didn't deserve any of this. He reminds me of a little Justin TBH. Right? Aw. Yeah, I can't with her either. Yeah, charcoal-induced vomiting at the ER. Yes. Hey, Miss Sarah C. Good to see you. Oh, hey from Louisville, Kentucky. This is so devastating. Oh, your lipstick's beautiful on you. Thank you, Sarah C. I try to do a little bit of lightening up on it during the day, but then I'm like, I'm so used to it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And my heart and prayers are with you guys. Yeah, and it's just horrible. Like, it's a horrible outcome. Um, I think that it was so lovely to see everybody coming together. That really warmed my heart. Like, I was like, oh, thank God for that, and there is another prayer vigil too, guys. The prayer vigil here is for Jaden Spicer. Let's light the night with memories and love as we honor and remember a remarkable life taken too soon. Right, so that's Saturday, August 16th at 8:30 p.m. and it's going to be at Duchett. I hope I said it right. Duchett Park, Jackson, Kentucky. Hashtag justice for Jaden. Hashtag justice for Jaden. And I mean, he is just adorable. Like, he needs to be out running around, having a good time, starting school, hanging out with friends. Hey, Scranton. He deserves that. He does not deserve what he got, in my opinion. Yeah, well, and kids are learning too. Yeah, Holly S says the autistic kids can be difficult, but can't unalive, and it seems to be the trend. Right, exactly. I mean, it's just amazing to me that you wouldn't meet them where they're at, knowing that they can't do that without, they can't get better at some of the things that they're having difficulties with without an adult who's willing to meet them where they are and to help them achieve it, right? Whether it's through therapy, whether it's the teachers, and it has to be at home too. It's just like anything else, it isn't going to be one way, at school and the other way at home, because that's not going to help anything. As a matter of fact, that could, halt the process, and it is a process. but they deserve to be treated, with dignity and kindness and gosh, compassion. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, I think once the toxicology and autopsy come back, her charges will go up. I really hope so too. And I think, the public letting the courts know, I think that helps a lot. People saying, hey, that's not acceptable, and so they don't necessarily have to be the bad guy. Because a lot of people in the public are like, hey, what's going on here? Oh, Miss Ann, I'm so sorry, honey. Yeah. Yeah. But they do tell you that. They say do the CPR. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, hell yes, your poor husband. She said the fen made him nuts too. Yes, I know. I can't remember what it was called. It was called like a couple of different things. What is it? Hydroxy cut? Like I was trying to think. What you do is you do the hydroxy cut, and then you do the 8-minute abs, and then you do the 10-minute buns, and you're good to go. That's so funny. I was watching an ad on YouTube the other day, and they were like, oh, this is the Pilates challenge. And I'm like, that's not Pilates, that's booty bands. Like, what are you that's booty and resistance bands. What are you talking about? Gina says, Sumner County Sheriff's Office makes fun of those they arrest. Well, now someone unalive themselves, so people are ripping them up on Facebook page, in my opinion. Oh, really? They've actually been exposed for, like, beating up a differently abled individual, right? As well. We talked about it months ago. Oh my gosh, Gina, that's crazy. Yeah. That is like bully behavior, not leadership behavior. And you would think that these people that put this badge, like if I put that outfit on every day, I would feel a duty, like they call it fiduciary duty in real estate. I would feel a duty to uphold the badge, to hold pride and honor in what I do every day. I would do that. I don't know, and I wouldn't be a good cop by any means. Not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, when you put that badge on every day and you click that gun into your holster, do you not think about the responsibility that you hold? Do you not think about the leadership, how people look up to you? You should. Ooh, what you making, Miss Ann? What you making? It's about dinner time. You guys were telling me all of the stuff. I need to find out how Lisa B's Stromboli came out. Thank you, Tina. I'm glad to be here during the day. I'm glad. Like I said, I needed to get, light a fire under my ass and get more organized here. Hey, Linda Hall, good to see you. Prayer Warrior says, remember the Turpin case? They had, yes, I do remember the Turpins. Oh, sorry, I just clicked on that and I lost you. Hold on a second. Thank you, Angela. Oh, I must have missed the Turpin one that you said. Prayer Warrior, dang it. Thank you, Angela, so much. Angela says, what child would walk out of their home alone at night? I was deathly afraid of the dark into my teens. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's just like more dangerous and unknown. And Angela, that's such a good point. We were talking about that last night too, where they live at the bottom of that hill. And so if he was to walk in the one direction, he would be at a dead end. And so there would only be one way to walk, which would be up, into, on the main road. Because whenever Sheila and Fred were traversing up the hill that's right across the street from the trailer where Jaden was living, I mean, it was uphill, I mean, it was pretty pretty steep, and I just don't see him being able to even make it up without a flashlight, without something, like a headlamp or something. But then that would have attracted bugs all over the place, right? Which he doesn't like bugs. He doesn't like the dark. So absolutely. I don't think that he, just seeing where the home was situated, no doubt in my mind that he met with some other fate than him just walking off or trying to, traverse those woods and those hills. And even the hill that they live on, to get down. I mean, you'd be going up, and it would be, like on a treadmill up on an incline, right? Like as you're going, as it's up. I mean, it's not easy to walk those, even on the path, even on the road. Very narrow road as well. So if you weren't wearing, clothing that would help you be visible, you could even get hit by a car on that road. I mean, they had to pull off to let the sheriff cruiser by. So, no, Scranton, that's a good point. Dollar Tree ain't $1 anymore. I usually only go for gift wrap stuff. Yeah, they have cute little ornaments and stuff like that too around that time, but you're right, it is not. If you think about it, if she did ID him. Yeah. I mean, anything's possible. I just don't know why she wouldn't have called unless she was afraid because of her other charges. And then they're going to think, oh yeah, right. You've already spent time for wanton endangerment, and now you're trying to tell us that this was an accident. But they are probably looking to see what the autopsy and the tox comes back, because that's really going to tell us, what was in his system in terms of what type of medication was he administered. Yeah, the gummy kids vitamins. Yeah. Oh no. And she was open the bottle. She was like 5. Oh my goodness. See, and that's the thing. I say that it's tamper proof, but sometimes kids are smart and or maybe they got lucky, right? Like they're pushed on it and it just opened just so. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and they make a lot of different gummies for different things, right? Like, so again, it's scary. But then again, I've never heard of a fatal overdose, right? Because there's overdosing. Overdosing just means that you've taken too much of said medication or said whatever. So. Oh yeah. Oh, Lori says when I was growing up too, my younger brothers had ate the baby aspirin, and the orange ones. Yeah, the little round ones. Yeah, and my mom rushed them to the hospital. Yeah, because and kids don't know, and especially like some medicines will have like a medicine-y taste, and they're like pasty and stuff, but like those ones are kind of like they like an M&M shell, right? Like where it's like it's smooth, and when you put it in your mouth, it doesn't taste bad. So wow. I want to view the toxicology report to seclusion. That'll really tell us a lot. It really will. It really will. Yeah, top shelf in the linen closet. Use the chair to get up there. Yeah, because that poor grandma Lori was babysitting for the little granddaughter, and she didn't know what they were, the one time, and I was like, oh my gosh, and accidents do happen, 2 melatonin knocks me the heck out, says Scranton. I can't imagine a kid eating a bottle of them. Yeah, and I never realized that like they were that powerful to cause that. Like, yeah, I understood like you might, throw up, you're gonna get sick from it, but the fact that it does affect your blood pressure and your body temperature, those are the things that could, ultimately take someone's life. So kids will find a way to get something when they want it. Yes, yes, yeah. I wonder what that cabinet has up there. You know, and they'll figure out a way to climb up. You know, Lori says true. Yeah, forget melatonin. Give me a hot cocoa and 2 cookies. I wish that worked. Oh, for me, I would be, happy. I'd have that stocked up for myself. Although they do have like a couple of different like hot cocoa drinks out there that are supposed to help with sleep. I forget what they're called. I think they're made of mushrooms. Something. I don't know. I'm always skeptical because like usually it doesn't work for me and I'm like, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much, Kai Kai. I appreciate you. Aw, thank you. That is so sweet. Churchy says, in my opinion, if he is hyper, then if he is a hyper kid, as they say he is, wouldn't her other kids be hyper because ADHD is genetic? Just saying. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, apparently the girls weren't as rambunctious or something. I don't know why, but it bothers me, and now that you say that, it just always seems like there's always like a kid that gets scapegoated, right? Even when there's like more, when there's more than one kid involved. And I say that because just even thinking back on, again, James Hutchinson, there were other kids in the family too, that she was going to take out into the, and just leave them at the park, right? Why was James the only one that ended up deceased, and tied and thrown over a bridge into the Ohio River? Again, I can't buy it, now that you're saying, now that you say that, and then also, we've been talking about it. Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you. Yeah, because who knows? And every child, every person, all of us as individuals are going to, at some point, maybe have challenges to overcome, right? And that doesn't mean we throw each other away. That means we help each other. We hold each other's hands. We're there to listen. We're there to give a hug and you're crying, We're there to give you a compliment. We're there to encourage you. That's what we're supposed to do as people, in general. But then your family members should be there to do that as well. And they're not always, unfortunately. But yeah, just because somebody has, quote unquote, something wrong, or they're experiencing issues at that time, that's not forever. And if you just leave it, it's going to get worse, or it's not going to get better. Either way. So, yeah. What can, what did they try? I guess this is my question. What did they try to do to help Jaden, to help the situation, right? Because you can't tell me, because I won't believe you, that this lovely young man was like the holy terror that they're describing, that he was so bad that they just had to get rid of him, get him out of the house. No. No way, Jose. Hey, Jude. How are you? Hey, Jude. Ooh, ribs. Are you guys making ribs? All right, you guys are going to make me hungry again today like you did yesterday. Yeah. Chuchi says, when I found out my son was diagnosed with ADHD and ODD, I didn't know what to do, and I ordered books to understand how I can help my son. Absolutely. And and that's what a good mama does, absolutely. And so, ODD is oppositional defiant disorder, right? But I mean, I've watched children who were diagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder and ADHD get therapies and come through it, and understand how to regulate it and cope with it. And then also there's medications too. So, yeah, absolutely. You do everything you can, and sometimes it's just, understanding the situation like you did and educating yourself on it. And then it's amazing, the coping tools that you can find. And then also what's really important, and we talk about this too with Mom and the One Night, I really believe in, like parenting forums and groups and things like that help each other and support each other. I really think that is something that's very valuable. And then also you can establish friendships and bonds and things. So that's great. Yeah, that's so important. And now, it doesn't even take to buy the books. You just go, what do I do with my child who has ODD? What do I do about my child who has ADHD? It's so easy. It's so easy. And it's right at our fingertips. And it's just amazing to me. And it doesn't cost anything, obviously, than to have a phone and the internet. But there's a lot of programs that will give you a phone, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. Okay, seclusion. This is exactly it. And I talked about this before too. And just people who are just hyper intelligent are very intelligent, right? Um, seclusion work says they thought I had ADHD until they had me tested. Nope, turned out I had Asperger's and I was bored. And that happens a lot with highly intelligent people, right? Because, they're sitting there, they have the whole worksheet done, and the teacher's up there blabbing away, wah, 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 right? Like Charlie Brown. And the kid's sitting there like, okay, what can I do? And then, obviously, idle hands are the devil's playthings. They're bound to get in trouble. I mean, let's just put it that way. So they're idly sitting by like, okay, when's this gonna, or maybe they might fall asleep and they're like, this is boring as hell. I was up late playing video games anyway, and they get in trouble for falling asleep in school. The teachers, and that's why I am so, I'm really slow to like say, oh, medications, or diagnosis is everything, because yeah, sure, we can be diagnosed with things, but that doesn't mean that we can't overcome them. I watched a guy get taken out by this humongous wave. Like he dove into the wave head first, like not realizing that if he dives into the wave and the wave's coming this way, the force of the wave actually paralyzed him, and he wasn't ever supposed to walk again. And I don't remember whose show he was on, but it was like a talk show, and he came out on stage, on stage walking around, yeah. I mean, people are resilient. Where there's a will, there's a way. Getting fish dinner from Culver's tonight. Yay. They do have good fish over there, Lori. They do. I like Culver's. Miss Sarah C., that's the thing. I mean, I don't like the dark either necessarily. I mean, especially because you can't see, you don't know what's around, you can be caught off guard. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, we're kind of taught that, right? And then also if we watch horror movies, it's like, bad things happen in the dark. So, but for a little kid, it's just so crazy to me. Lori says melatonin keeps me awake, adverse effect here. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking too. I mean, like, everybody is different. Not one single person is going to be affected exactly the same. And I mean, obviously there's studies and stuff that are done, and, you'll have this group that is affected this way, this one isn't, placebo group. Sorry, guys, I'm going. Oh, I still think she was medicating him nightly, Prayer Warrior says, just because of his baggy, sunken eyes. Perhaps he was usually hyper, and that day she doubled the dose, in my opinion. Okay, yeah, I can see that. I'm just wondering, like, when he was prescribed the medication. Maybe it was a recent diagnosis and the police didn't know about it. The police are only going to know as much as the, you know, parents say. So maybe the police didn't know about that, but I would think she would have came out and said that if it was like, oh, we can't put an Amber Alert out because there's nothing medically, you know, established or, you know, documented. You would think that she'd be like, well, yeah, he is actually, here you go. I'm sorry, you know, you didn't get the right information. Again, we're just dealing human to human, and, you know, you have to have good listening skills in order to, you know, effectively communicate. So, you know, maybe the cop wasn't listening good enough. You know, I'm not to be, you know, rude, but he's a person too. Yeah, and that's, yeah. Miss Ann says, I had a friend in Michigan that had her daughter on ADHD meds, and they kept giving her more and more of the medicine, and the doctor told him to up the dose every time they went in there because they weren't. You know, I would be so nervous to do something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah, because those medications are pretty hardcore. Um, and you know, if anything, it could make you sick or it could change your brain chemistry. We were talking about that earlier, Miss Ann. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that is no good. Yeah, well, that's another thing too. The effects are different on different people. Yeah, Miss Ann says U.S. Bank in her head. It didn't get her way, and she's down in Bangor head, uh, banging her head. Sorry, whenever she was at her, oh, because she had so much ADHD medicine, she was banging her head. Oh, okay. So she was on Ritalin. Yeah, I remember that back then. Yeah, that yeah, she would look like a zombie. Oh, poor baby. And see, you know, to me, I would rather get them involved. Sports, you know, any of that type of thing to expel that energy before I would, you know, up the dose of the, you know what I mean? If you're already on it, it's like, oh gosh, because yeah, ODD is very hard. It is, yeah, because that means that they're not only, you know, oppositional, so they're combative, but then they're also, you know, defiant, which is, you know, breaking the rules kind of a thing. And it is a disorder, you know, diagnosed through the DSM-5. So thanks, Hey Jude. Yeah, ODD has changed a lot. Yeah, yeah, because I even watched a documentary where there was this young girl, Holly, where she was diagnosed with that, but come to find out she was like severely abused. And so that's why she was experiencing that. And now as an adult, she does talks and things like that, because that's what they diagnosed her with, which she probably did have it. But I think they were pretty close, or excuse me, I think they were pretty quick to diagnose something like that without fully understanding the person's history and what they may be going through. And, you know, look, we can develop disorders due to our trauma and things like that. Personality disorders are developed that way. But that doesn't mean that we can't recognize it and become self-aware and understand it and change it, you know? So, oh, 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry, we got Jago over here. He's a little excited. Yeah, it's a little bit more common these days. Well, and you know, because I think they were probably lumping all of the kids into, you know, ADHD. Okay, if they're you know having trouble focusing or they're you know acting up, ADHD, because we did see that a lot. You know what I mean? And then same thing with oppositional defiant. You know, they may have recognize that it's not always that, but then there's also comorbidities too. So, ooh, chicken Alfredo, perfectly imperfect boy, mom. That's what I'm talking about. That's a good Charlie Brown. Hey Jude, thanks. That's funny. I gotta work on my sound effects, right? Holly S says, I feel bad because in my opinion Sebastian was super smart and they didn't relate to that. I think that as well, Holly S. I think they were mislabeling Sebastian as well. Because again, you know, you can lose focus, you know, just like Seclusion was saying. Yeah. And you're just sitting there, and then that's when you kind of get in trouble by the teacher, right? Because they think you're not paying attention, or, you know, you might think the homework is, you know, kind of whatever, and you're like, I don't really need to do that. You know what I mean? And as kids get older, they're going to be more independent and, you know, assert that independence a little bit more. And that's when we have to kind of bring them back to, you know, following the rules. Hey, listen, you're going to have to follow rules your whole life. I understand that, you know, you feel grown and big, but, you know, this is it. So, I mean, there's a lot of things, you know, that could be going on too, that can be considered, instead of just being like, well, here's medicine, or, you know, you're a bad kid, or, hey, we're going to, you know, take your life and because you're too much, or, hey, we're going to you know, we're going to toss you off to somebody else. Because that's got to hurt, guys. It really has to. It's just so sad. Prayer Warrior says, interesting. My nephew was tested as a genius in grade school, and he was labeled as a problem child. He was bored too. He's 40 plus now. Yeah, Prayer Warrior, and I've heard of that many times actually, where kids have been, you know, mislabeled, and it's really just like, hey, they're bored as hell, and you know, and they're actually really, really smart and very intelligent. I'm behind too, Prayer Warrior. I'll be thinking about it. Ooh, lasagna. What? You guys. If I met so many, you wouldn't think he had a diagnosis and he's not on meds. I let him live a normal life, but I'm more understanding of what he is feeling and work with him on controlling his anger. Yeah, and that's all that we can do. And that's another thing too. That's such a great point. You don't want to judge a book by its cover ever, because you just don't know. You know, we don't know what people have been through, and that is so important to consider and remember. Thanks, Chuchi. I appreciate that. Yeah, and advocate for himself. And you being such a great advocate for him has taught him how to advocate for himself. It's important for any of us to learn that in life, because really we have to be our own voice too. Even so, you know, and that's one thing that I do think that Seth put into Sebastian, you know, instilled into Sebastian too, is that, you know, you need to, you know, stand up and advocate for yourself too. Let us know, and that sort of thing. Yeah, I wish Seth had known to eat June. Ooh, homemade tacos and brownies, Miss Sharon C says, with marshmallows. Oh, cool. And I think you're making, I think we're making you hungry. Yes, you are. Especially, that sounds like s'mores brownies. That sounds really good. How fun. Hey, Kathy Bartholomew, good to see you. Well, guys, I am going to have to hop off of here because I'm going to get ready for the show tonight, and we'll talk a little bit more about Jaden. I also have a good update from at night that I want to discuss in the Sebastian Rogers case. So, but gosh, you guys we've had such a great conversation today. I'm so grateful to have had you all here to discuss this. And then, you know, I really do think that justice needs to be served here. I'm not convinced that people are being honest, and it still remains to be seen. But I will say that I'm going to absolutely believe the autopsy when it comes out than someone's word, right? Because, you know, the testing isn't going to lie, but a person will to save their butt, you know. So yes, I'll see you guys tonight. I will see you. Thank you, Lori. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate all the conversation, Holly S. And thank you so much to Miss Sarah C, Kathy Bartholomew, Ann Reynolds. Thank you guys so much. Everybody here. Kai Sa, Chuchi, thank you. And everybody, Prayer Warrior. I'm gonna go check my email too, and get that stuff out. Show Poodles, of course. So yeah, it's just always so nice to talk with you guys in chat. And I'll get some good updates for us for tonight, because there's a lot coming out. And you know what? And also Linda Hall, there's just going to be a lot coming out here, unfortunately. So hoping that, that we'll be able to figure this out and get justice. All right, guys. Thank you all so much, and I will see you later tonight.